Have a great.
Yeah, thank you, Terence and GeekCamp team. It's really wonderful to be here. Uh, Let me know you guys are seeing my screen properly and my slides. Awesome. So welcome to Geek Camp Singapore. This is one of the conferences which I always wanted to come, and unfortunately, it's not offline. But I'm glad that it's feel like an offline conference. And yeah, so I'm here to talk about passwords in general, and why we think like passwords are old, and what's the future of password, and what's called WebAuthn, and how we can use it, to simplify the UX and DX experience of our application. So Trent did a good job, but this is me, Mohammad Shahbaz Alam. I work for Magic. I'm developer advocate for Magic. Magic builds the authentication system built on blockchain, which uses a pretty unique concept of public-private key pair. Feel free to check out magic.link to go in detail, but that's not the talk. We'll talk more in general about passwords and why passwords are old, and yeah, WebAuthn. So the talk summary is to give you a bit of history of password, and then we'll go and understand what are the types of passwords are used these days. And then we'll introduce a topic called passwordless, and subset of passwordless is WebAuthn, and also we'll see the future where the password industry is heading. So passwords date back to Romans, way before Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Google. The Roman military used password as a way to distinguish friends from enemy. Like it backs to the Roman, and it also way back to the Alibaba and the 40 thieves, when Alibaba used to say "Open Sesame." It's a magical phrase in the story of Alibaba and 40 thieves, where it opens the mouth of the cave in which 40 thieves have hidden a treasure. I'm pretty sure you must have seen this cartoon characters like in your childhood. And fast forward to hundreds and thousands of years, enters Fernando Corbato. In 1960, Fernando Corbato and his time-sharing system, which is like Corbato. If Fernando Corbato, if someone doesn't know that, he's widely regarded as the godfather of the modern computer password. He introduced the idea to computer science, this particular idea to computer science while working at MIT in 1960. The university had developed a huge compatible time-sharing system. William, you're saying something? If not, I'll continue. Like the university had developed a huge CTSS, compatible time-sharing system that all researchers had access to. However, they shared a common mainframe as well as a single disk file. To keep individual files private, the concept of password was developed so that user could only access their own specific files. In 1970, Robert Morris introduced something called Unix hashing. He was working for Bell Labs in 1970s. He's a cryptographer researcher. He introduced the process of hashing, which is a process in which a string of characters translated into numeric codes that represents the original phrase. It is a one-way encryption that translates strings into numbers. The actual passwords were never stored on the device, and it's still used in macOS and PlayStation 4. Then moving forward to 1979, Robert Morris and Ken Thompson coined the term SALT. It refers to adding random characters to a stored password, making large-scale leaks or cracking multiple passwords harder. But it doesn't stop a password from guessing. And the first computer worm on the internet, the Morris worm in 1988 has happened. And then in 1980s, hacking became an issue. As the World Wide Web exploded in 90s, more and more people began using internet on a regular basis, creating realms of sensitive data and information in the process. Processes like dictionary attacks, brute force, rainbow tables, social engineering, and phishings are some of the techniques which are used to crack the passwords. Then let's understand, these were the history of the password. Now understand the types of password is being used. So what's a password? We can easily say that anything that's a shared secret is a password. A password can be a string. For example, password 1234. Never use this password for sure anywhere. A password can be something like this, looks gibberish, but it has most of the things which is good. It has uppercase character, lowercase character. It has special characters. So it's good. It can be hard to remember because of the nature of the password being complex. And if you know any of the password managers such as LastPass, OnePass, that can help you remember these hard and complex passwords. If the password is complex, it's hard to guess by anyone or not you. So do use a password manager so you don't forget the password yourself. A password can be a PIN code like 1234. It is not so hard to guess often, but the advantage is that it's often combined with a maximum allowed number of attempts, which is fairly easy to remember, these 4 characters or 6 character PIN code. But usually it is used to access. It's only used accessed by a physical thing such as your cards, like ATM cards, phone devices to unlock your phone, and keypads. A password can be a pattern. If you are coming from an Android world, you will see the lock screen, something like this, which has a pattern. This can also be a password. But the disadvantage is that touch screens often reveal the pattern as a dirty spot. You can see over time, when you do the patterns, you'll see on your screen, you'll see the dirty spot, so people can look into it. But the patterns are also easy to remember. So these were the types of passwords we are using, right? But what's the problem with passwords? So like users ourselves, we think of secrets or passwords very specific to verify identity and hand them off to the app's user by various companies. For example, 59% of all users reuse their password across multiple applications. I'm pretty sure one of your password could be to multiple places. For your Google passwords could be for different applications as well. And users trust companies to store their secret securely and responsibly. But not all companies take security seriously. Many companies roll their authentication without the prior knowledge on security at all. And user access the company's services by showing off the secret again, which gets matched with the stored password. Consider this similar to writing your password in a plain text in a piece of paper and handing them off to the application's owner. And they matched with the stored password, and it allows you access. But every time the secret is shown, there's a risk of exposing it to hackers. Companies might get hacked and lose your secret along with the user's trust. So 48% of the customer never come back after a breach. Equifax breach has cost them at least $1.4 billion. And hackers use stolen secrets to impersonate users to access their vital online services. Hacker uses the same stolen data to impersonate and access multiple apps because of the password's nature of reuse, which most of the users does that. And now this problem compounds more because there are many companies acting on behalf of you to authenticate for yourself. And it is very easy to say now that the user's identity is no longer in your own hand, but it's controlled by a handful of large corporations. Fast forward to passwordless. That was the story of password. It had this problem. Then we have introduced something called passwordless, which is a one-time password, which is often termed as an OTP, It is valid for one-time use, but often expires after a certain time. And it's sent directly to the user. It could be sent in an SMS, which you will see something like this. This is a screenshot from Magic dashboard, how the login form looks like. When you enter your email, phone number, you get a code on your mobile devices. And Android and iOS lets you fill those code from the messages itself. And the passwordless option can be sent in an email as well. Similar to this, when you put your email, you receive an email on your email client, which looks something like this. This is from Magic email. But the Magic email login was termed by Slack. Everyone back in days, Slack has something called Email Me Magic Link. Passwordless options could also be social options. For example, GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab. It could be configured in various forms and UI to accommodate phone number, email, along with the social login. But in all these screenshots, you would see there is no use of password at all. So we are eliminating password from entire internet. We hope to do that. So it's a one less password to remember, right? We don't have to remember password for social logins, but we do. That's the barrier right now, that we do want to remember password for example, like Google, GitHub, just to ensure that. But we hope to, eliminate that as well. So how this everything happens here with Magic? There is no password involved. You can get started with Magic very quickly. If you have your terminal right now, open your terminal and just write npx make magic. As you are seeing it here, you'll see as a boilerplate application runs on the terminal saying create Magic app. It will ask for your application name, and then you would need to select a template from here. So to get you started, use plug and play, which I'll show the demo how it looks like, and also the dashboard side of it. Once you do that, it will ask for your publishable API key and stuff like that, which I'll show in a demo in a bit. But with Magic, in your JS application, what all login options you get, and trust everyone is without the password. One is login with email, which is login with Magic Link option will get you enable the email options. And then another is SMS, social login, and WebAuthn. To get started in a JS application for the Magic side of it, you just need these 3 or 4 lines of code to get you started. What's publishable API key? We'll see it in a demo, how it looks like and how you can get started with it. But this is a sample application, sample code of how to get you started with email. And this is how to get you started with SMS. Simply put your number instead of email. And I'll show the demo of everything. And this is where we do configure the application for social logins, similar lines of code, just enabling and making sure that it uses some extensions, OAuth extension, and uses provider. For now, it's using Google, but you can use different provider as well. For example, Facebook, Apple, or GitHub. This you will see something like this when you want to configure for social login. And then comes the WebAuthn part of it, where WebAuthn is something which is called Web Authentication Apis, which uses a hardware security module. It was like hardware keys, which is like FIDO alliances devices such as YubiKeys to authenticate on behalf of you. It's a hardware authentication process. Hardware Web Authentication API has lots of specs to understand, but Magic has simplified that step in just these 3 lines of codes to get you started. Once you register, once you do this initialization, we'll show everything in detail in a demo, how that works. Just to get you started, it just need WebAuthn.register new user. So WebAuthn works in a way that first you would need to register your device, and from next onwards, it will be easy to log in using .login function. So let's see a demo how it looks like. Let me bring this screen here. And yeah, so when you visit magic.link and go to the docs and go to login methods and WebAuthn, this is what I was referring to. This is the security key, which is a UB key here in this case, which lets you authenticate on behalf of them. There are other authentication services, hardware devices as well, such as Touch ID, what you find on your mobile devices and Android devices, fingerprint sensors on your laptop, such as MacBook. Here you can use those things. So let's try a demo of this, how it looks like, and also we'll see the demo code, what this represents. So demo is very fairly simple here. So I'm not sure if you can follow it along as well, but currently it supports it's easier to test on Chrome right now. So I haven't tested on different browser. Let me guide you where it is. Go to magic.link, go to the docs, go to login method, and here WebAuthn, and click on the demo side of it. So once you, how it works is that you need to sign up for, let's say, GeekcampSG. When you sign up, it will ask for whether you wanted to use a USB security key or this device. For me, I'm going to use this device because it supports, it has inbuilt Touch ID. Let me know if I can pass it here. So it's something like this. I touched on my Touch ID. Now this GeekcampSG will be registered. Alongside this, you'll see multiple data. For example, device info. What's the nickname? For here, we haven't used the nickname, but I'll show how you can register that as well. And then we have a username, which is GeekCamp. And going log out, it's log you out. But to sign up again, just use GeekcampSG and do login. It will ask again for this pop-up, for example, to touch your Touch ID. When you touch your ID, it will allow you to log in to your application. And it gives you the similar specs here. Just to understand how the register new devices works, this is the code, what I just showed on the presentation itself. This is to register a new device. Also, we can set a nickname and do a lot of stuff with WebAuthn. So let's see how the code looks like for this particular demo. When you go to this section and click on view the demo code, this will open up a code sandbox window, and this is how the code looks like. This is a React application run through that. I was mentioning these two lines, like if this highlighted text can be seen, but these are just to use Magic SDK and WebAuthn extension. We are using something called PK test, which you can find it from Magic dashboard. So if you're new to Magic, it's free to sign up. You can log in and sign up for free. Once you sign up, you would need to create a new application. I just created one for GeekCamp. This is from here. You can grab this API key. You can feel free to share this with anyone. It's no harm in sharing the publishable API key. You just copy that, paste it here, and once you run this application, this will use your particular device. For example, let me copy this and save it. Hopefully this loads. Okay, for that I need to fork it, but it's very easy. You can paste it here, and this works as easy as you can see. right? And then usual React application, what it does, but you'll see these register and login, which uses the Magic instance and uses WebAuthn module along with register new user, which is a function which you can find more about it on our docs, register new device and register new user, right? And this is how I was saying that you can add the nickname while you are registering your application, right? Registering your device. Yeah, fairly simple codes. Feel free to explore that afterwards. It's on the docs side of it. So yeah, feel free to explore that. Let me bring these things here back. Okay. And yeah, that was the demo of WebAuthn and how easy it is to get you started. These are just the code what you would need to get you started with WebAuthn and Magic. These 3 lines of code to initialize the thing. This is to register a new user, and then subsequent request will be to use the login. And we have seen the demo. So what's in the future? Like where the future lies for password. So there's some term called decentralized identity. So I'll walk you through what this means and how this is going to help us. Decentralized identity is a new type of identifier and trust framework in which the identifiers such as username can be replaced with IDs that are self-owned, independent, and enable data exchange using blockchain and distributed ledger technology to protect privacy and secure transaction. To learn more about this in detail, it has a schema which uses, for example, DID. Then we'll use DID method, DID specification string. So this is very much in future, but I'll show what we have achieved till now. To learn more about this thing, you can go to W3 specs and learn about the DID primer. This is the link where you can find those things. Read more about the decentralized identity. So why is decentralized identity important? As we know that the user trust model of the internet is broken, passwords are bad, and as we are, our lives are increasingly linked to applications, devices, and services, and we are often subject to data breaches and privacy loss. It's so common these days to see our email ID and passwords on various rainbow tables and the breaches. So a decentralized identity system can provide greater privacy and control over your data. So I'll give you 2 examples what people tried before Magic and what Magic is trying. So before Magic, people have tried something called zero knowledge authentication. A zero knowledge authentication is a key-based model. So instead of users thinking of secrets, which is password themselves, a blockchain-based public-private key pairs are randomly generated to access your application. So it has eliminated the use of password, but it has its pros and cons. So now the users have complete control of their identity. Companies cannot know their secrets or passwords, which is a more secure model. A user can use the same secret to access multiple applications, which is a cleaner trust model, where there are no identity silos in between by different companies. It has its con, like users are likely to lose their keys because we forget our password. That's why there is a functionality forget and retrieve your password. So keys are also likely to be lost, which will log them out for good and lose our online identity. Or worse, those keys could be stolen. The concept of using a key on the internet is too unfamiliar for most mainstream users because there was bad UX to it. And how Magic has improved the trust so far. It has introduced something called Delegated Key Management. In this delegated model, Magic leverages large infrastructure as a service and secure user keys with hardware security modules. And this hardware security module are similar to what we have seen in WebAuthn, the hardware devices like YubiKeys. With this user keys are secured with HSM, with technologies that hides and protects user private keys from companies and even from Magic. So Magic is also not able to see your private key. And it has brought in additional pros, which is like Magic provides familiar passwordless auth UX, what you have already seen, and I'll also show what all different options it has. It has brought familiar passwordless auth UX to users for them to retrieve the keys. It's better UX, and now the users cannot lose the keys. Magic doesn't store passwords and cannot know users' keys or secrets, which has brought more security and trust in this delegated model. And Magic has native support for multiple blockchain, which is very good for Web3 users coming to Magic. But it has its con with Magic. Magic is now reliance on a single infrastructure as a service. When you read our docs and more about delegated key management, you'll understand we use AWS to use their hardware security modules. So what all options Magic provide? Magic has email Magic link for web, React Native, Flutter, iOS, and Android. It has SMS login, which again doesn't use any of your password, for web and React Native, for iOS and Android coming soon. It has 10 plus login, social login options available. These are the options you can see. And it has more auth features like WebAuthn, which is currently supporting just for web, but we want to extend that to multiple other platforms as well. And MFA is coming soon. And then, as I said, Magic has support for example, Ethereum and 15 plus other blockchain systems. So this was my talk about passwords and WebAuthn and what's the future lies ahead for password. If you wanted to understand more in detail about what's WebAuthn and how we are using it, this is linked to our docs and WebAuthn section. And if you want to understand more in detail about what Magic does and what's there, visit our website, magic.link, and feel free to explore our docs, guides, and do join our community where we have 700 plus members right now on our Discord server, where we talk more in general about passwords, passwordless, and what's the future here for us on the internet, and how we want to be the identity enabler without the password. And that's it. And these are the ways to connect with me. Again, if you have your terminal running, just open your terminal and type npx mds so that's the thing. You'll find more ways to connect than this, but these are my Twitter handle. Feel free to tag me on Twitter, and if you have any queries, do let me know there. And yeah, thank you, Geek Camp Singapore, for having me. And yeah.